Hi guys, so today what we're working on is factoring when there is only two terms. Okay, this might sound like it's complicated. Really, we're going to split it up back into four terms. If you haven't figured that out yet, that's a thing that we do. I'm just going to be doing factoring using box method because it's my favorite, but we're going to focus on this before. So anytime I see only two terms, I need to remember there's a middle term that's actually happening here that I'm not thinking about. It's the zero term. Okay, there's a 0x in there. So if I know it's 0, I want to take the same idea. So I'm going to multiply the first and last, just like I did last time, and I get a negative 16x squared. So I want two numbers to multiply to negative 16, but add to 0. Well, multiplying to a negative is great because then we have one positive, one negative, they add to 0, perfect. All right, so now if I split 16 up, what's two numbers that multiply to 16 but add to 0? Well, it has to be one positive and a negative of the same number, right? Because 2 minus 2 is 0. 7 minus 7 is 0, so we're going to look for that. So what multiplies by itself to equal 16? 4. So this would be a positive 4x and a negative 4x. All right, so using my box, I have my 16x squared here, my negative 1 here. I have a 4x and a negative 4x. On the bottom, I pull out my negative 1. On the top, I pull out a positive 4x. In the top column, I pull out a positive 4x. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. I know I've done something right, at least so far. Then in this one, because the first number is positive, I have to pull out a positive 1. So I end up getting 4x minus 1, 4x plus 1. That's kind of cool. All right. Let's go ahead and try a couple more together. So just remember that this makes this so much easier when you remember this part, that when we do this, that you are looking for two numbers that add to 0. So it has to be a positive and negative of the same number, but it has to multiply to that negative to make sense, right? Because if it doesn't multiply to a negative, then one can't be positive and one negative. It won't work. So right here, 16 and 81, they have no common factors, and x squared and y squared have no common factors. So there's actually a 0xy in the middle, because when you do x squared times y squared, you get x squared, y squared. Split that in half, you get xy. Okay, so then if we multiply first and last, we do 16 times 81. I'm waiting for a calculator. Here, we'll do this one. There's a greatest common factor in the second one. The greatest common factor in the second one, we've got 12a cubed and 75a. 3, I'm pretty sure. Let's pull a 3 out. So if we pull a 3 out, this becomes 4a cubed minus 25. Yeah, it looks better. And then that 3 just stays there until the end. It just kind of keeps going down. Ah, here's a calculator. Okay, now we can do 16 times 81, and we get 1,296. Whew! But luckily, I got a quick little cool thing. 1,296 x squared, y squared. So if I want to split that up into two pieces that equal each other, the easiest way to do that, just take the square root of the number. So we're going to take the square root of this number. We get 36. So we have 36xy and negative 36xy. That's the only way to split that up so that it adds to 0, right? Okay, so now we're going to take our box. That's a terrible box. We're going to start over. That's a little better. I'll take it. Okay, we've got a 16x squared in this corner, 81y squared in this corner, and then we have a 36xy and a negative 36xy. Oh, and that's a negative 81. Whew, almost forgot that. That would have been a problem. All right, so in that bottom row, we've got a negative 36 and a negative 81. Well, what those have in common is a 9 and a y. Cool. So that means the positive 36 and negative 81 are going to have, well, this will be negative 9y. This will be a positive 9y. All right, the next one is going to be a positive 4x and a positive 4x because the 16 is positive. So if we do 4x times 4x, we get 16x squared. 4 times 9 is negative 36, well, the negative 9. And the next times y is xy. 4 times positive 9 is positive 36 xy. And then 9 times negative 9 is negative 81y squared. So my answer ends up being this. 4x minus 9y times 4x plus 9y. Cool. That turned out nice. So some of you are starting to see a pattern. If you see the pattern, you can use it. I'm going to be pointing it out. Well, we'll see. I forgot to pull an A out. This should be an A, 3a, and this would just be 2a's. There we go. Okay, so we've got 4a squared minus 25. If I multiply those together, I get negative 100a squared. Well, that's easy. I know the square root of 100, so that's 10a and negative 10a. So that means that I'm going to split this up, that 3a just continues to exist all the way down to the bottom where my answer will be. There will be something here and something here. So then inside my box is going to be 4a squared, 10a, negative 10a, negative 25. So negative 10 and negative 25 have a 5 in common, negative 5. 4a squared and 10a have a 2a in common. 4a squared and negative 10a have a 2a in common. And 10a and negative 25 have a positive 5 in common. So then this ends up being 2a plus 5, 2a minus 5. If you haven't figured out the pattern yet, take a look at what the original, like 4a squared, and compare it to the beginning part of each other part, like 2a and 2a. And compare the 25 to the 5 and the negative 5. Where would those numbers have come from if I was to use the shortcut? Just a thought. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and give this one a try. You've got this. Please note you need to pull out a greatest common factor first before factoring it down. You've got this. I know you do.